What we're trying to do with Destiny going forward, like the total plan, aside from the vision, is we want it to be the ultimate version of the game over time, and that's kind of where we're heading.
Okay, but when is it coming out?
We got work to do. We got to repair the foundation.
Let it be known that I tried.
Yeah.
Okay.
Valiant.
Hello ladies and gents, my name is FrostBolt and welcome to the video. Today we're going to be talking about some recent news in regards to Crucible, Trials of Osiris / Trials of the Nine, and basically what they had to say on all of this stuff that we've been having several questions about. So as you saw in the intro, Luke kind of answered and addressed Trials, but at the same time he really dodged the question, and they keep saying continuously that it's not ready. Now a lot of people in the community are upset about this. A lot of people as players are upset because Trials was one of those things that you expected to have from the base game. You know, it was like your end game PvP content. But anyways, I don't think people would be upset about them not saying it's ready. It's more about the fact that they're not telling people what they're working on, like what part of Trials is a problem that they need fixing or more time with, you know, things like that. Now there's part of the community that says it's okay that they're not bringing Trials back yet because PvP is a mess, and then there's another part of the, you know, community that says bring back Trials, you know, I want to grind it. Where's the PvP content? There's nothing to grind PvP wise. But you know, I'm kind of leaning towards the side where I think if Trials were to come back, it'd be a pretty chaotic mess. Like, you know, Destiny 1 Trials was a lot of fun, but let's not forget the crazy like negative things about it, like triple self-res Sunsingers, things that you can abuse. You know, it would be no different in Destiny 2 PvP. So if it means that it comes back to be really good, you know, decently competitive and balanced, no, you know, not too many exploits and stuff like that, then I'm okay with it. Now the only thing I'm worried about is that they're using this "it's not ready, we're working it" as an excuse, and they're not really working on it. So I'm really hoping, you know, that's not just a lie and they're actually, you know, investing a lot of time into it, you know. But anyways, moving along to the next points, they talked about PvE and PvP being separated. Now if you've been a part of the Destiny community, you know, played the game forever, you know there's been a constant like struggle between the PvE balance and the PvP balance. If they buff PvE too much, right, like do all the chaos, too much mayhem, then PvP will become the same way. Vice versa, if they try to, you know, balance things down, bring the chaoticness down like Destiny 2 originally released, then you get a really bland and boring PvE. So in this game, unfortunately, it seems like one part of the game kind of weighs down the other one or brings it up too, which could be a negative or a good thing, right? So it's very unfortunate that way because they just haven't really found a way to properly balance both things differently. And they've done it in the past though. They've done, for example, Telesto, they buff it in PvE and then they nerfed it in PvP, you know. But one that they really didn't do separately was Striker Titan. Now Striker Titan was kind of broken in PvE. If you remember, you could one man the heroic mission for Whisper, pretty much solo. It doesn't even have to be the heroic version either, but in PvP it was completely broken as well. They ended up nerfing it mainly because it was broken in PvE, because you could solo so many activities with the super, you know, that would impact the Reckoning, which was a new activity that was going to release eventually, and they didn't want it to basically ruin that mode. So because of that nerf, it ended up nerfing it on Crucible too, but they didn't, you know, they weren't going to basically touch it if it was only PvP. So I don't know, man. Another thing I guess would be Spectral Blade. Spectral Blade was completely nuts in PvP, but since it wasn't broken in PvE, kind of like Striker was, it didn't really receive a nerf. So that's kind of like the example I'm trying to point out. You know, one super was broken in PvE and then the other one was broken in PvP, and you know, they both got different treatment, you know, in terms of timing and all that. Now my response to that is they could just keep improving their separation of balance. Like, they can't be scared. Like, I feel like they can't really make an excuse to separate different things. Like, sure, I don't work in the game industry, whatever, I don't really know too much, but if they've done things like Telesto where they nerf both separately in each experience, and they can definitely keep going that route. You know, like you have a Dawn Blade, crazy super fast, you take it to PvP and it's going to be the same experience, but hey, there's going to be some counterplay. If you can headshot a Dawn Blade out of a super, then that's not going to change the experience in PvE. Like, nobody's going to be sniping you out of the air in a headshot to begin with. So that's what I'm saying right there. They just really want to keep the consistency because, you know, one point they made was that you had PvP and PvE going down the same route. If they start to balancing separately, eventually they're gonna like diverge and go separate ways, and it's not gonna be consistent and not the same experience. So that I can understand, because if you go to strikes, you expect a super, shotgun, a hand cannon, whatever to act kind of the same way when you go to Gambit or Crucible. But like I said, I just think they can find a pretty good balance, and if they keep embracing this and moving on with it, they can eventually get pretty good at separating both without really changing the consistency throughout the game. So moving along, they talked about new strikes and new PvP maps. They said it could definitely happen, but the problem is that if they slow down to make new PvP maps and stuff like that, it would cause them to slow down on the current activities they're working on and the new content and the new like challenging stuff they want to do. So I can understand that point, because if they were to make a new PvP map, it would kind of cause them to not make a Gambit map or make less Gambit weapons. You know, something will be weaker somewhere else, because they're pouring that energy, time, and effort into other resources. So, you know, it's not completely something that I'm okay with. It's like, oh, you know, I'm not just gonna give it to them, but I can understand where they're coming from. At the end of the day, since I'm not there, you know, live seeing what's going on, I don't really know. Another thing they mentioned as to why there's no new strikes and no new PvP maps is because they are kind of going down this, what would I say, schedule of sprinkling love in certain parts of the game. So season 1 of the annual pass was kind of dedicated to the raid, the PvE stuff, and then the next season was about Gambit. So they did give a lot of Gambit love with the new weapons, the new maps, the new mode. Now the final season of this annual pass is going to be more dedicated towards PvE and the raid again. Next season is going to be some about PvP. So that's kind of like the attack they're taking, the approach, I would say. And I can't say it's terrible, but I can't say it's the greatest either. You know, it's one of those things where a lot of us will kind of disagree or agree with it. Personally, I'm kind of okay with it, because as a I'm a Destiny 2 gamer. Like, I like to enjoy all aspects of the game. I'll play everything. I primarily enjoy Crucible, and that's really what I play like majority of the time. But I like when the other parts of the game are, you know, interesting enough, fun enough for where I can invest my time into it, because I can grind it. It's just more of a wholesome experience rather than just, you know, pure PvP, because, you know, things get boring and repetitive to some extent at some point. Anyways, that's pretty much it when it comes to that. There was a couple other little points that I wanted to bring up, like the finisher moves that you saw throughout the trailer. Like, are we going to be able to use those in Crucible? How sick would it be, right? But at the same time, how bad would it impact you during a match? Because I remember playing Apex Legends, and if you would do like the animation, it would be kind of long sometimes, and you get shot by somebody, you can get downed throughout that animation and stuff like that. So in Crucible, I can imagine you're playing quick play, you're trying to like do a finisher, and then just immediately get shotgunned or sniped by somebody else, and you're like, oh, well, rip, that feels more embarrassing now, you know? So it would be pretty cool to get a lot of variation options. I'm definitely looking forward to what the Titan can do. I want like a skull crusher or something like Neon in the stomach. I don't know, bro. Give me some of that Mortal Kombat fatality. But yeah, anyways, that pretty much covers all the points that I managed to see throughout the live stream and the Vidoc interview stuff. If I missed anything, definitely let me know in the comments, because, you know, we're kind of itching for that Crucible info. But yeah, hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Alright, it's time. It's about to get loud in here. 1v1. 1v1 on the board. Oh!
One of the things we really want to focus on, especially with Season 8 and the start of Shadowkeep, is a renewed focus on PvP.
Oh my god, they're actually doing it.
Updating labs to
They're making
include
PvP good again?
some much
Oh my
loved
god, it's
game
there.
types from
Oh,
the past.
no way.
We're also
Oh my
redoing
god.
a bunch of the playlists
Drop a
and
like
how they
on the
work.
video to
But
support the channel,
the
and
really
goodbye.
important thing for players to know is this is just the beginning. This is us building the foundation of what we're doing with the Crucible going forward.